crafters, it's Julie Creek. It's fall 2023 and I'm here to share with you some more fun. I have our new product line, which is all about s'mores, and I'm super excited to share it with you today and share with you some tips and tricks along the way as well. So this line starts out with our S'more Love stamp, and this stamp set I designed so that it coordinates with and fits in the banner stamp that's in the back. So it's called a stamp and die set because it has that banner die in the back, which is a stitched banner die, which allows you to stamp your little sentiments and then it'll fit perfectly in the banner. I know sometimes I just want to have a place for those sentiments to rest, and that is why I designed it the way I did. So really great sentiments there. And you have the die. Now there's a little trick with this line, and this is the stencil. This is a 3-part stencil that you use to make the marshmallow, and I'll share with you the tips and tricks today. But when you design your marshmallow, you want to start with the stencil, and then we're going to die cut. Now when we go to die cut, we're going to use the s'more die cut, and you will see on the back here that you have your graham cracker, 2 sizes of marshmallows, a layering element for your chocolate piece, and the stick. We also have an element that we can use on the stencil to add detail to the stick. That is your s'more die. Then we have the fire die, which has been out for a while, but it's a great little piece to add in with the s'more line. Now, when I designed the s'more paper pad, I designed this, it's called S'more Fall, because you have s'more papers, like we see here, okay, or you can flip the whole entire thing over and you will have fall paper. The fall paper line is designed to match our pumpkin spice stamp set, and we can talk about that later. It's super fun too, but today we're here to talk about s'mores. I'd like to share a few cards with you, and you'll be inspired. This is just a flat A2 card, and I used the small marshmallows. In the background, you'll notice our new sky paper pad, and that has the sky already done for you, so all you have to do is cut it to size. This card is our angel side circle card base. So the blue part back here is the angel side circle card base. It has that circle that folds around to the front, and I have added the happy birthday circle frame and then our s'more touch right on the front. Here's a really nice flat A2 card, and we used that graham cracker on there, added a little ink to the edges of it. I'll share with you the little tips about that today. This is a super fun one. This is this frame that you see here is the new inverted scallop die. There are 3 dies in that set designed to fit on an A2 card. And I will share with you today how we make that ooey gooey marshmallow mess on that card. Here's that inverted frame attached to the Z fold card. So it's an A2 card, got the inverted mini scallop frame on it. I have a piece of acetate in there, and then, whoops, we have our edges there. That edge that you see here on the inside is the new Rolling Vista edge die. It's sized to fit on the A2 card. And then we have the card that we're doing in our make and take in the fall of 2023. This is our make and take card. So you'll want to stop by a trade show that we're at, check our show schedule, and you can make this card. So I am here today to share with you the tips and tricks on how to use the stencil, how to make ooey gooey marshmallow fun. So I'm going to turn the camera down and we're going to get started. We are ready to work on our s'mores, and we are going to be working with the s'more stencil. This product can be found on our website. If you don't know how I prep stencils so that you can easily read the laser markings on here, I have posted another video about this issue. Super easy to do, and you can watch that in my video. Now, what we're going to talk about today is how to make these super fun, gooey marshmallows. And this stencil is designed, it has a unique feature in that what we're going to do is ink first, and then we're going to take the die and we're going to die cut. That will give us that very inked edge on this side, which represents our toasting. And then we'll have a totally white edge over here with no line because we're not inking over there. So what you're going to do is get your stencil, and you need a piece of white paper. You need a stencil brush or some way to apply ink. I'm using my stencil brush called the J brush, and we are going to use the Sandcastle color of ink from Catherine Pooler. So our J brush will work with any of the dye-based ink, and we will pick up some ink in our ink pad, and then we will do small circles around, and we will apply the ink right into that large marshmallow. So we're going to do the large one, and you can actually drag that from the outside in if you want it a little darker on that outside edge. I'm going to actually do the small one at the same time. So we're going to come here and put the small one in, and you can decide how dark do you want them. Do you want them burned? Maybe you're not doing them brown. Maybe you're doing them black. So I'm going to slide my stencil over and then pick up a little more ink, and I'm going to come in and make a little darker mark for my marshmallow. So I'm going to do the big one and the little one, and you might not do both. You might use one or the other, but I'm just showing you how they work. Now we're going to slide that stencil over, and these little circles are made to represent the little toasty marks on your marshmallow. So when we do this with our stencil brush, I'm going to pull that band up and tighten up my bristles, because I just want to go in and drop a little color right in there, and I want those to represent where the fire hit that marshmallow and gave it a little toasty edge. And now I have my two different marshmallows, and this is where the fun begins. I'm going to take my die and lay my die on there, and I can decide how far over, how much toasty edge do I want? Do I want a lot of toasty edge? Do I want a little bit? Set that where I want it, and I'm going to take the stencil tape and tape that into place and die cut that. And we're going to do both of these at the same time. Put that on there. So you can kind of decide how you want to position your piece on there. And we will run that through the die cut machine and die cut. So I'm just going to add a little drop of Undu right there, because I put that stencil tape on there to hold it. That'll give me the ability for that to pop right out, and I won't have to fight the stencil tape at all. Then there I have my two marshmallows. Now, if I want to have a dimensional marshmallow, which I do, I am going to take our dimensional foam, and we sell the dimensional foam in a 6x8 sheet. So all I need to do is take my two dies, set them on my dimensional foam, and run those through the die cut machine. Now I have my two pieces that I ran through the die cut machine, and this foam is dimensional, so it is adhesive on both sides. And what I'm going to do is take my pick tool, I'm going to remove the red liner off the top, and I'm going to add a dot of Undu right there. And I'm just going to let that roll around. That will suspend adhesion on my marshmallow base until I have the time to line that up exactly where I want it. Now, if I'm not happy with what I did, I can pull it off and I can start again. Just get it wet, and then I can reposition my marshmallow. Now, in this case, I'm going to take this off. I'm going to let that one air dry a little bit because I am going to mention one other tip here. If you want to make that edge brown where you've toasted on the edge, you can take your alcohol-based marker and just brown up that edge a little bit so that it coordinates with what you've done with your inking. So I'm going to just put my marker on there, give it a little toasty edge just for the fun of it. Now we'll go back and put our marshmallow together. So just having that undo gives you the time. There we go. We got our nice toasty edge. We're going to do the same thing with the little one. And now we have our dimensional marshmallows. Here we go. Super fun. So I want to share with you some little tips on how to add little dimension and extras to this little marshmallow. This is our Fingerette. If you're not familiar with it, you slide your finger in from the back, you pick up your ink, and it's just a really good way to add ink to your edges. So you can just add that little more detail to that edge if you want to. Just smear it on there very gently. So that's one of the things that I like to do with the marshmallows. Another great little tip that I like to do is to take the stickles, and we're going to take the stickles, and we do have this color on the website, and I'm going to use the media stick. When you use the media stick, you can control exactly where that's going, and you can see, there we go. You've got that little bitty point. You can get that exactly where you want it, and you can accent those little burn marks, your little toasty marks on your marshmallow, and you can hit all of them. Now here's what's really amazing. You put that on there, we'll get all of them, and I want to show you one of the great things I love about this stick is that if you put something on there and you're like, wow, that's way too big, I can just take my stick and I can pull that off totally and then reposition it so I don't have so much on there. Now when I do these marshmallows, I like to hit those little dots, and then I like to just very lightly come out here and hit this edge. Just gives it a little sparkle and shine. So that is how you accent your marshmallow and get that really toasty, fun look out of it. So we learned how stenciling first gives us that toasty edge on one side and the white edge on the other side. We learned how adding that little touch with the stickles and the media stick accents our little toasty marks. And now I want to share with you another tip, which is how to make that marshmallow ooey gooey. So if you like the ooey gooey marshmallow, and come on, let's face it, who doesn't? You can do this trick with any kind of a plastic bag. And what I'm doing is I am starting with the actual marshmallow. Now this one doesn't have the liner on the back of it, but you just start with your marshmallow and then you're going to set it on the bag. Now, if you look over here, you can see I have these little pieces over here, and what I'm using is the Nuvo drop, and you can use this to create a really cool look. So this is the white, and we do have this on our website, and what I have done is I've just taken the Nuvo drop, show you here, going to slide a piece of paper behind there so that you can see these pieces over here are just Nuvo drop that I've dropped on this clear sheet. And then what I'm going to do is just take that, peel that back, and I will be able to pick off those pieces of what look like drippy marshmallow. Now you have to be careful on the larger pieces because they do want to break. But once you have your drippy marshmallow, you can pull those off, and then you can add them to your card like drippy marshmallow. Show you this. Okay, now what I have done down here is I have taken my marshmallows after I've accented them and I've added the Nuvo to the bottom. Now these didn't have the back liners on them because I'm reusing them off of a card, but I'm just going to put my Undu on here so that'll loosen that marshmallow up. And then I will be able to pull that off and I will have my ooey gooey marshmallow with my marshmallow dripping down from the marshmallow. Now again, the reason that's sticking is because I had removed the liner off of them. If I were you, I would leave the liner on there so that they will easily peel off. I want to pull this one off so you can see. I know this is kind of crazy. But once you get that peeled off, you have your ooey gooey marshmallow hanging down. Now this one has some like little weird things going here. So if you have things on it that you're like, yeah, I kind of don't like that, you can just kind of trim that off. Get you a good clean edge. And now I have my ooey gooey marshmallows. And who doesn't want an ooey gooey marshmallow? So here's what I want to show you. You have your card and you can take your ooey gooey marshmallows and put them on your card. And now you have ooey gooey marshmallow on your card. And then if you want to add some drips, see those marshmallow drips? You can glue those on. Use your liquid glue and glue on your marshmallow drips. Okay, so let me show you how I actually did that so you can see it. Put that in the background. So the way I do this is, here's my, let's see if I have one of these. Nope, they all have sticky on the back. So I would leave the liner on the foam. Mine are taken off, which makes them harder to remove, but leave the liner on the back. Then we're going to stick them down on our clear sheet or just set them on your clear sheet. And then you're going to take your Nuvo drop and run that right along your edge. And you can decide how you want your ooey gooey to be. And then make it hang down however you want to do it. And that will be your ooey gooey. Now you're going to need to let it dry for quite a while. I don't like the way I got it all the way over here. So as you can see, I'm going to use that media stick to move that around. I'm going to pull that back a little bit. There we go. And you can use the media stick to get however you want it to sit, and then you can just wipe that off and you'll be good to go. So I have two of these here. I'm going to set the other one right here, and this is a dried spot. I'm going to pull that off. We're going to set that right there, and we're going to do the second one just so you can see how we're doing it. We're just running that right along there. Now this, after it dries, it kind of flattens out a little bit. So on some of these, I want to show you this. These are the ones that I did yesterday. If you look, you can see it's kind of flattened out right there. I'm just going to go in and hit that with a second coat, which will make it a little bit fatter. And then again, if I want to move it around, I can use that media stick to manipulate that media, which is that Nuvo drop, and I can get that to sit exactly where I want. This is actually the chalk white, and it has a little bit of a gritty substance to it, which is kind of cool because it looks grainy like the marshmallow. And you can see this makes an amazing ooey gooey marshmallow. Now, I want to talk to you about the chocolate back here. The die for the s'more set comes with 2 dies. so that you can layer your chocolate. And I want to show you what I did with this set. So if we're looking at our layered chocolate on our s'more, we are going to use our glitter paper. Now, we sell the glitter paper in a lot of different colors, and what is unique about this glitter paper is that it does not have a heavy backing. It is really thin, and it is shatterproof. So when you die cut it, it does not shatter all over the place. And because it's thin, you can add our Super Tacky Tape to the back like I've done here, and then it becomes a sticker. So the question is, how do I get brown glitter paper? So I'm going to take my Chameleon marker, or you can use Spectrum Noir, whatever alcohol marker you have. And when you color on that, you're going to turn that the color that you want to. So you just take your marker, color back and forth, and allow that to dry before you go to die cut, and you will have this really nice brown piece for your chocolate, which really adds a really nice touch. Now, I typically do this, cover this whole background and throw down a bunch of color, and then you need to let it sit several hours before you die cut. If you die cut before the marker has thoroughly dried on this glitter paper surface, you will get marker on your cutting pad and on your die. Now, if you do get marker on your cutting pad and on your die, you can use Goof Off to clean it off. So once I have my base color on and I die cut, then I can go back with the marker and just kind of touch it up, get it nice and dark the way I want it. And then before I use this, I had put my Super Tacky Tape on the back, which makes it a sticker. And then literally all I have to do is peel the back and set it on my card. And I have this really awesome dimensional chocolate look that the glitter gives me. So we've talked about a lot of components and tricks, but we haven't talked about the graham cracker itself. And I just wanted to show you that when you use the Fingerette, you can come in, and this Fingerette is actually an edging tool. It's not really meant to cover a surface. It's meant for edging, and because you have that little pointy edge, you can get into the detail places. So I really like to just come alongside on the edges of this with the Fingerette and some brown dye-based ink and add that little touch. It does have a fold mark in the middle, so if you want to hit that with a little ink, that's fun too. That gives you a really nice little touch for your cracker. And that is how we accent our cracker. So I hope that you've enjoyed this ooey gooey chocolate graham cracker marshmallow fun. Hello, my friends. Before we end this video, there is one thing I forgot to tell you. So I want to just stop right here and share this with you. The stencil has the place on it for you to add a dimensional line to the stick. And I want to share with you how I do that because there is a little trick involved that I use. Now, in my craft stash with my stencils, I store this little piece of paper. And this is actually a piece of acetate, 6x6, and I have a piece of my Super Tacky Tape on top of it. This means when I pull the liner back, I can actually put an item on here and I can stamp on it, or I can stencil and I can hold that piece in place. So I have die cut the stick with the stick die, and then when I go back in and I want to add that dimensional line that's on the stencil, I can lay that right on top and I can see exactly where I'm going. Now, when you put this tape on the acetate for the very first time, it is very sticky, like really sticky. So I press it into my jeans 1 or 2 times just to get rid of some of the sticky. and then it will be ready to use. So I have placed my stencil on top of my stick. I know that my stick is not moving, and I can go in and add that dimensional line of detail on my stick very, very carefully. And if I'm concerned about being able to pull off this stencil off of my tape, I could use my Undu. You can see it'll pull right off, and there you have it. I have now put that little dimensional line on my stick, just a little bit of detail that you can use with the set. And you can see how you could slip this into your Misty board, and it would be very handy for stamping on as well. We do sell the Misty product in the booth that has the sheet that you can stamp on, but this is just another option. Super Tacky Tape and a piece of acetate. Now, let's wrap up this video. I hope you've enjoyed this ooey gooey chocolatey graham cracker fun. You can find all of these great products on our website, www.creekbankcreations.com.